All right. Hello and welcome. Episode 32 of A Few Good Mics. It's Tuesday, March 13th. After, let's say it's been about a month and a half since we last did a podcast. We're finally back. I think our last one was right before the Super Bowl. Never did a post Super Bowl or anything else. So missed a lot, but what a good day to come back. NFL free agency officially underway. We'll get it started with our very own Green Bay Packers making some moves. Unfortunately, they had to cut Jordy Nelson, but they got Jimmy Graham and Muhammad Wilkerson. It's a couple of big name signings. Who wants to start and give their thoughts on the two moves today?
I'll go ahead. It's really hard to see Jordy Nelson go, and especially in a different uniform. Like, it just sucks. He was a lot like if you're like a diehard Packer fan, obviously Donald Driver. He's a class act, somebody that you don't want to see go anywhere. He's a Packer for life. You don't think it was anyone else, and that's what sucks. Is bringing in Jimmy Graham is obviously, in my opinion, to make more production. I think it's the move you have to make, but the move that nobody likes. They have no cap room. Jordy was slated to make a lot of money, so is Randall. You got to cut one of them. Randall's got like 3 years on him, I think, 2 or 3 years younger. I mean, Jordy had that surgery, and I'm not going to say he wasn't. He's going to play, and he's going to play well for a year and a half. But he's definitely – I don't want to say on the downside because, like, in this last season when he was with A-Rod, you cannot count Brett Hundley because that's a shit show. When he was with A-Rod, he had 6 touchdowns in 5 games. Like, he was killing it. Granted, I think one of those he only had like 28 yards. But, I mean, the rest were like 70s. And you know what? It doesn't matter. If you're getting tutties, you're getting tutties. So I think he'll be productive wherever he goes. But he is on the decline in as far as like the longevity. We'll have Jimmy Graham for 3 years tentatively. That's going to be better than Jordy for 3 years. Jordy might have a better year this year than Jimmy Graham, just say. You know what I'm saying? Is the longevity of the contracts. It's a better deal. And it had to be done. I hate Devontae Adams as our number one guy. I don't think he's ready for that role yet. He did well with Brett Hundley, but what is that? We're getting torched a lot of those games anyways. We ended up going into like overtime with the Browns and Buccaneers. So, yeah, maybe he's doing well against them. Who cares? They're trash, bottom of the barrel. I don't know about the Browns this year, but like as them they were. So like just to have him thrusted into the number one role is really scary because obviously Jordy would have been better for number one at least this year. So that part sucks. The Wilkerson deal, they got him for a steal. And like I said, I like the Jimmy Graham deal. It just sucks to see Jordy go.
Yeah.
Nate, go ahead. My bad.
I'm kind of on the same page as Mike. Obviously, Jordy's a fan favorite. Everybody, like you said, you don't see him in any other uniform. But, I think it was a move that kind of needed to be done. And I think I do like – I can't pronounce his last name, so I'm just going to call him Goody. I think Goody has been making some good moves and being aggressive. That's something Ted Thompson never did is be aggressive. They were looking at Sherman. They are going to get Jimmy Graham. They are going to get Wilkerson. So, it's one of those things just to kind of see the aggression in the new general manager is a great thing to see. And I think, you lose a guy like Jordy, but I think, he's, wide receivers, just like running backs after age 30. They're on the decline. So, it's one of those things. It's a move you can make. And, I just hope it does work out because I know Jimmy Graham didn't really work out as well as Seattle thought. But I think, in the long run, I think he'll be better off, in a Green Bay uniform. And I think he's the tight end that we need. So.
Yeah, and the thing, the Packers, they haven't had a production at the tight end spot since Jermichael Finley, and we know how long ago that was. But like going off what you said, Nate, what everyone was hoping for when we got the new GM was that he was going to be aggressive. And he's like, we might not get every free agent, but we're going to be in the conversation. We're going to start going after guys, And it was nice to see that, like, oh, we put our name out there to Jimmy Graham, Wilkerson. You got put it out to Sammy Watkins and Tremaine Johnson and Allen Robinson. So just like let them know you're there. And I've always thought, like, sure, we're Green Bay, small market, but you've got Aaron Rodgers. people are going to want to play with Aaron Rodgers.
You can reel anybody in with A-Rod.
And Aaron Rodgers was reportedly really recruiting Jimmy Graham pretty hard. So, and I think it's a great thing that the new GM, I'll call him Goody too, I guess, but that he's being aggressive. And like you said with Jordy, you can't replace a guy like Jordy, but I don't know. I think Adams, you said with Adams playing with Hundley and whatnot, but I think if he's played that well with Hundley, just like he's going to play well with Aaron Rodgers too, you'd think, and he did before that too. So, and I guess I have a little more faith in Adams being the number one, but like I said, like you said too, we're gonna miss Jordy a whole lot too.
Yeah, I think he's about 1 year shy of being the top guy there. It does help that
maybe that's this year. Is that one that next year that you're talking?
I'm saying he shouldn't be the guy this year. But who knows? Whatever. Another thing I want to touch on with Nate's point is, with the new GM making all these moves, this is what everybody called for. So if you're mad about Jordy getting cut or whatever, I understand. But at the same time, this is what we needed. This is what you wanted. You wanted moves. We got moves. These are the moves. You can't be upset about this because this is what you wanted. To make guys come like Jimmy Graham, you've got to make room. Cut the old, bring in the new. That's how it works. It's tough. It's a business. I think a lot of people are going to be upset that Jordy's leaving. He's a huge fan favorite.
Yeah.
But you can't be mad. This guy's making moves, and it can't be any worse than Ted Thompson's realm where we did nothing. And we brought in mediocre, half-assed leadership talent like Martellus Bennett, like a terrible signing. Obviously, that's only one, but it's only up and up from here with the GM. Regardless of how this year turns out, Jordy goes and lights it up with the Pats, which book it. He's going to sign with the Patriots. But it doesn't matter. This is a good move. It's just a hard move.
Yeah, and I think the difference is that we were expecting it. Like I remember writing a couple months ago that they're going to have to get rid of Nelson or Cobb because they're making a bunch of money. They're getting older, and if they want to do anything in free agency, one of those two are going to have to go. And it just happened to be Jordy Nelson. And,
but in your opinion, don't you think for whatever reason, I think it's just the love for Jordy, but it would have been so much easier for me to watch Randall Cobb walk out than Jordy.
No, I agree. I thought it would be Cobb just because they've already got the replacement in Ty Montgomery, and they've got Trevor Davis. So they've already got those two speed guys.
I think from a possession, Cobb is nothing but a possession receiver. I feel like possession receivers are easier to get rid of than a strong, guy like Jordy, like a guy that's, 6'3", 220, just everything you want in the size of a receiver. I feel like, those guys are kind of tough to come by. And like you said, Cobb, he's quick, but he's also had his fair share of injuries. I think it would have been much easier to get rid of Cobb, but at the same time, because possession receivers, they come and they go. You see a lot of them. But I think from a like you said, fan favorite standpoint, I'm sure a couple. I know I have a Jordy jersey. I'm sure you guys do too. But it sucks. But it's what the new GM called for, and you just gotta live with it.
It would have been just like the Donald Driver thing. He's Donald Driver just 3 years later.
And with these moves, I would much rather have you be aggressive and you take these chances than to just do the same, just do nothing over and over again and expecting Aaron Rodgers to carry you and carry marginal talent. You go out and get this talent.
Well, and look, he's 32 or 33 right now. Like I said, he was very productive at the beginning of the year, but him and A-Rod are like connected in the mind. And that helps obviously a ton with chemistry and everything. But he's 32 or 33. I think he's 32. Obviously, the receivers aren't killers at 33, 34. That's when you can kind of like, you have to either drop down like Larry Fitzgerald did, play a little slot. You got to really work with your skills that are sort of deteriorating a little bit.
Yeah.
You can and like I said, the longevity of this deal has like, I think like even if the Packers have a bad season and Jordy kills it somewhere else, you can't even look at that as a fail because, we got Jimmy Graham for 3 years, and it just opens up that Jimmy Graham is going to be better for the future than Jordy Nelson is for the future. Jordy Nelson's got, like I said, 1 year top caliber, and that's it.
Yeah. And then if you're lucky, you'll get that second year out of him.
Right. So longevity wise, it's a good deal all around. It's just really, really difficult to see a person like Jordy leave. That's a tough swallow.
Yeah, that's part of the NFL business. And we've seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know. Like, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. It's like, what if it's like a Patriot situation, like how they let the talent go a year too early, then a year too late? Like, maybe that's what happens. Maybe he turns 33 and then the production just, like, he's just not the same guy. Like, I don't know if not predicting that, just saying that's the other side. Like, that could happen as well.
Well, it's kind of the cutthroat mentality too, sorry, Nate, that you really need. I mean, look at the Pats. He wanted to trade Tom Brady.
Yeah. Because
that's what you need to be a championship quality, and it's embodied in the Patriots organization.
You can't have feelings like that.
Right. You can't get attached. And that's what a good GM does, is they cut throats to make the team better.
I also kind of want to see, like, obviously we've never seen Jordy in another NFL uniform. Like, I want to see, like, how he's going to stand out, like, if he has a more mediocre quarterback versus an Aaron Rodgers. He's been most blessed you could ever be with, quarterbacks throughout his career. And I just kind of want to see, how he does or how he reacts to, because, I mean, obviously he'll go to a team that has a decent quarterback, but I don't see a Patriots move. I could see him going, hopefully not in the NFC North, because I would want to kill him if he signed with the Vikings. But, it's one of those things, I mean, I think time will tell. I mean, he may be make a shitty quarterback look good. He might, who knows? I mean, it's really a toss up.
I suppose it could be highly, highly doubted, and I hate even comparing him to this, but it could be a Greg Jennings situation when Nate's right. I mean, he leaves Aaron Rodgers and he's just nothing. I highly doubt it, and I hate putting him in that category, but I'm just saying.
The thing about Greg Jennings, he went from Aaron Rodgers to Christian Ponder. That was part of his downfall. That was like a major reason why he
That's like comparing an apple to an orange. Like, I mean,
but if Jordy Nelson does the same thing,
because he could go to the Jets, and then you'd have maybe Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater ain't much better than Christian Ponder, in my opinion. You're high on Teddy Bridgewater, but I'm just saying he's not anything crazy good either.
No, I think I'm with you, because I mean, I kind of put it in a group chat earlier. Like, I think Teddy, he'll compete for the job, but I think McCown's gonna die on the field before Teddy gets a start. So,
yeah. Just one last note, I guess, before we move on to the next part of free agency, is that Jordy Nelson, it's already being reported he's already got his first visit, and he's going to visit the Oakland Raiders, which is very interesting.
That is very interesting.
Can you imagine, though? Let's just do a couple situations. So if he went to the Pats, he'd have Cooks, Gronk, obviously Nelson, the backfield, Jordy, and then Edelman. Dude, what's that? Amendola.
And no, Amendola left. He's gone.
He's with. Yeah, he went to
Miami Dolphins.
But that'd be insane. And I also saw a tweet. I think it was just from a random person when I was like on the feed of like Jordy Nelson. If he went to Atlanta, Julio Jones on one side, Jordy Nelson on the other, Mohamed Sanu or Tyler Gabriel inside, dude, with those backs, that's a lot of firepower with deep balls.
Yeah, we're going to see a bunch of suitors for.
He could go anywhere.
He could go anywhere he wants
but I think he's going to make a smarter play, and he's going to go to a contender.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because he's at the back end of his career, and I don't think he's going to get a big payday.
Right, and I don't think he's going to go to like the Jets. because they're not a contender. I would say like Pats. I did see Oakland. Oakland would make sense. Just throw them in that offense.
Like the Panthers, I could see them.
Panthers too. Cam Newton needs a weapon.
They're lacking in the receiver department, so
yeah, there's a number of places that could use them. And like I said before, this is they're like the Packers left the door open too. Apparently they have a really small offer for him, but it's something. They gave him an option to come back. I doubt he does, but
come back, bro.
We're begging. We're begging for you.
Can we all pull up money?
We will
pull
pay
up money. Like,
let's.
As a state, we'll pool money and just give him a check. It doesn't have to be NFL related.
Yeah, there you go. We'll start a GoFundMe campaign, or we'll Venmo you a bunch of money. We'll pool some money together.
We'll do like a GoFundMe campaign for $2 million signing bonus from the state.
I like that idea. Don't tap me, Mooney. Do I have permission to start this on behalf of you, Mike?
Start tweeting Scott Walker and put our tax money to good use.
Right. Now we're talking.
All right. So with that, we'll move on to
one other thing.
All right. Go ahead.
I'm surprised we didn't talk about this. That Demarius Randall, DeShone Kizer move. What are your guys' thoughts?
I'll start with this one and say at first, I was taking the argument I'm sure Mike's going to take, is that I'm like, we need corners. What the hell are we training a corner for? And he was our best corner. He was kind of shitty until the end of the year, but he was our best corner for a backup corner for Kizer. But then a bunch of stuff comes out that after he went on his little tirade last year, that a bunch of the players, especially on the defense, they wanted him cut, and management backed him. So they were going to get rid of him for nothing anyway, basically. This is from what I was reading. So if you could take a chance, and I liked Kizer coming out of the draft. I mean, I think he's still got a decently high ceiling, even though he didn't play well at all last year. And you've sort of developed him. We've seen what Hundley can do, which is not much. So I don't mind that. I don't mind taking a chance on Kizer. It's just trading a corner when we need corners.
Right. I mean, I agree. The only thing that bugs me is I don't mind Kizer, whatever. I don't think he's good, but he can't be any worse about Hundley. But if you're gonna, because they're gonna release him, so to get something for it is better than nothing. I get that. But this guy is 2 years in the NFL now, correct?
Who?
Demarius Randall.
Yeah, I think second year.
So 2 years in, he was a first-round draft pick, and he got pulled from that one game. I don't even remember who it was against, but outside of that, he had a really kind of up-and-coming season at the end. He started to come around, and you could see some potential there, which was what you kind of expected for a person that's moving from free safety to corner. Maybe it takes a little time to transition, but he started to really come around, which sucks to see him go because I really liked him as like a second or third corner. And like I said, I'm fine with getting something instead of nothing if you're going to cut him. But, like, is there any chance we could have traded for even, like, a D tackle or something, like, more useful than a DeShone Kizer, which was probably going to be cut anyway, maybe? Who cares? Just draft the fucking – get an undrafted rookie or something. I'm not high on him, and I just think, like, even with these Jimmy Graham moves and Wilkerson is a bomb deal, but we still have so many holes on that defense that no matter how many points you're putting up on offense, that strategy will not work. We'll win some games, but when it comes to push comes to shove, and we got to go up against a good defense like Minnesota or the Eagles, we got to have a defense to stop them. Otherwise, we're torched. That's how you go to Atlanta and you lose 50-30. We put up 30 points, but it doesn't matter because we gave up half of 100. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not going to get anything, it's better to get Kizer. But I wanted them to make a play at something defensively. And you can't tell me that in the entire NFL, there's nobody defensively. But on that same note, I'm so glad we got rid of Ted Thompson. Our defense, we gave up Casey Hayward, 2-time Pro Bowler after he left. Micah Hyde, Pro Bowler after he left. These are the spots we fucking need. Gone. So whatever. He's making moves.
Yeah, and with Randall, their word is they're going to move him back to free safety so they can move Jabril Peppers to strong safety. And, chances are Demarius Randall could end up continuing that trend, and we'll all be pissed. But
yeah, and I would have even been happy if we would trade him for like a third round or fourth round pick. That way, I'm with Mike's point. You can draft someone they don't need to be like a high end, like high flyer, but you can draft someone on defense, like someone that doesn't have like character issues or anything like that. So.
Yeah, but yeah, they'll load up on defense in the draft, I'm sure, and then they'll sprinkle in a receiver and a lineman like they always do. But with that, we'll move on to the quarterbacks. You had like 6 different quarterbacks agree to terms today and last night. Headliner was Kirk Cousins leaving the Skins, as we all expected, but to the Minnesota Vikings. 3 years, $84 million. You got Case Keenum going to the Broncos. You got Sam Bradford and Mike Glennon reportedly going to the Arizona Cardinals. And you got Josh McCown staying with the Jets and Teddy Bridgewater heading to the Jets. And I think that was all of it. But I don't know if I missed anything, you guys can correct me there. I guess we'll start. I don't know where you guys want to start with this, but I guess I'll just sort of leave the floor open.
I think I'll start with Cousins. I think that Mike Zimmer has always been a defensive focused coach because he's obviously a D coordinator, but I think they paid way too much money for Kirk Cousins, to be honest with you, because I think yes, does he bring value? Personally, I still think they have the third best quarterback in the NFC North behind Rodgers and then Stafford and then Trubinsky. I feel like, it's a little bit of an upgrade, but I don't think it's enough to, I think they would have been just fine with Keenum for another year. I just don't think everyone's blowing it up. Well, it's a huge deal, but I don't think Zimmer, realizes what what his team just did, because he's got guys to pay. He's got Anthony Barr and other guys on defense that need money, and he's a defensive minded coach, and to kind of see Vikings. Hell, he's going to be getting close to $30 million a year for those 4 years. I just don't think it's as smart as people grasp it to be. That's just my own opinion.
See, I'll jump in and I'll say I know the contract is obviously crazy for Kirk Cousins because he's now the highest paid QB in the league. I'm pretty sure that number puts him at, but I'll just say this: it's what happens with every quarterback. The one gets on the market or is up for an extension, they all of a sudden become the highest paid quarterback. So you can take that for what it is, but I do think that Cousins is an upgrade over Keenum. I'm worried about Keenum being a one-year wonder under a good coordinator. And, I'm a little worried with him in Denver because you're playing better defenses out there, and you're
not a good setup either.
And they've got a terrible offensive line, like awful offensive line. And Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders are good, but they've got no running game either, and you had the running backs in Minnesota gave you better production than CJ Anderson. He was more consistent than CJ Anderson, but I don't know. The money is what it is. And I think it's a better play for the next. I would rather bet on Kirk Cousins for the next 3 years than Case Keenum for the next 3. I agree with you on the money part, but that's just the way it is. That's just the way the market is. And I don't know. I don't see Case. Obviously, I could end up being proven wrong on this, but I just don't see Case Keenum having the same sort of production. I worry about him being a one-hit wonder.
I think he's definitely going to suffer from moving to Denver. I think that defense is aging. not nearly as good.
And they lost Aqib Talib, and they have Von Miller's the only Pro Bowler on that defense.
Well, right, and I don't think the offense is that good either. The same thing with the aging thing. They probably are going to have to do similar to a Jordy Nelson move with Demaryius Thomas and Sanders. But for him to leave, I would be pissed if the Vikings organization want to get out of there too, and you can't blame him for taking money. I don't think it's as good a situation, so I don't think he'll do as well. The Vikings kind of have it set up where a bomb defense has put you in a good situation, and pretty good offense with weapons and everything, especially with Cook coming back.
Yeah, and you'd rather have Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen than Thomas and Sanders, I'm sure.
Or Kyle Rudolph too, and
you got Kyle Rudolph.
But what I don't get is I don't get the Vikings move here, and only time will tell. I am not high on Kirk Cousins, and he's yet to win a playoff game. He's not entirely proven. People just say he's been decent in Washington, so they haven't had anybody. Why won't he be good with a good team? Which makes sense in theory and everything. I'm not a believer in Kirk Cousins. I think when you have, if you go back to the stats, Sam Bradford literally killed it with the Vikings. He was better than Case Keenum until he got hurt. And then Case Keenum went in there and killed it. But I just think, you're already rolling. You're already so far. You got to what wasn't the NFC Championship game. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. Because they got
they got that miracle win that shouldn't have happened. Yes. But still, you got there, and Case Keenum killed it for you. So now you got to get a guy in there, learn a new offense, which isn't a big deal. But I don't know. I just feel like it's a big change from something that's already working for, to me, what's little to no benefit at all in Kirk Cousins. I'm not a believer in Kirk Cousins, so it doesn't help me.
Yeah, but and I'll say this too, is that from what I read, not sure where I don't remember where I read it from, but that they were still not as high on not Kirk Cousins, Case Keenum, as I guess everyone on the outside was, because they would have had no problem switching to Teddy Bridgewater like that if he was as ready to go. And Case Keenum, let's say he started to struggle, they would have had no problem switching on this drop of a hat to Teddy Bridgewater.
But go ahead.
I don't have much to add after that, Nick. Go ahead.
So
I think the Vikings are so delusional with their rotten quarterbacks and how many quarterbacks they've gone through in the last 10 years that, I think that's just their mindset that, if this guy starts to suck, even if it's one game, you gotta move on to the next guy, and then you move on to the next guy, you move on to the next guy. It's like finding the good apple in the apple orchard. I don't know.
Yeah, where are you going with that?
I don't know. It's like you're bobbing for apples, and you're looking for one. I'm just gonna shut the fuck up.
All right, Mike.
Pipe down. So, with all these quarterback talk, there's obviously going to be quarterbacks drafted that'll start. Who is the first team that fell so miserably either in the draft or with the Kirk Cousins, the new free agent signing, that goes after Nick Foles?
See, I don't think the Eagles. I don't think the Eagles are going to give him up just because
I think they will.
Wentz might not be ready to start the year. Maybe by the trade deadline, it's a different story. But I think unless they're getting a king's ransom, like a bunch of good picks.
But that's not
no reason to give them up.
It's not insane for something like that to happen in the NFL.
No,
for a quarterback that's a Super Bowl winner.
I hear you, because how easy was it for the Vikings once Teddy Bridgewater got hurt? Oh, let's trade it first for Sam Bradford.
Exactly.
Which, it could have, someone could get desperate.
It's kind of an all or nothing thing,
But it's got to be with the team that's Bridgewater was on it was like a 2-year injury basically, and he had 1 year left on his deal after that year. So it took the right set of circumstances, I guess. But the Vikings obviously thought they were a contender.
Right. Well, what about this? What about this? The Saints are killing it. It's halfway through the season. Drew Brees out for the season, ACL or something.
that's maybe two, because Tom Brady, he's hurt his knee before. Like, you never know. And they don't
see, and the kicker with that too is, I think he's only got like 1 or 2 years left on that deal. But you can, if it's a situation like Drew Brees, you're then grooming him to be your starter. Then if he kills it, even goes to playoff, wins 2 games, what do they need Brees for?
Right, it needs to be a setup with an old, one that's kind of on the way out.
And is what I'm saying is, book it right now. Somebody will trade for him. Somebody will trade for him.
All right, I'll believe it when I see it, I guess is what I'll say. Just because of the if Carson Wentz was fully healthy and like they were
6 weeks
set
in,
on
he
him.
is fully healthy, say. And he's killing it again like last year.
Yeah,
and someone offers him 2 first-round picks.
It'll be after the season starts, close to the trade deadline. That's the earliest I see him trading is like maybe week 4, but not until then.
Maybe a situation arises where the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, shits the bed. People don't know how he'll do.
It's true. Like, there's a lot of question marks, and obviously the Chiefs are taking their chance. But, let's see. I want to. You want to talk about any of the other quarterbacks that signed? Do we want to say a good luck prayer to AJ McCarron, who's still out there and looking for a job? He's the last one.
I liked him in Alabama. That was the last time I seen him play.
No, I think maybe Buffalo. They
better than that chump they put in there that threw 5 picks in 2 quarters.
Peterman.
And I'll say this. I guess this will transition to the next topic. I guess move on to like other deals that we liked. I liked what the Browns have started to do. I mean, you guys shit on Tyrod, but even if it's just a bridge quarterback for a year while they draft somebody, he still got a marginal Bills offense. Like outside of LaShawn McCoy, what do they have to the playoffs? And in that drought, I'm not saying the Browns will be a playoff team. Let's say if they get the right pieces, maybe. But
no. Dude, the Bills got robbed for Tyrod in a third round deal.
Like,
dude,
they got Tyrod Taylor, Jarvis Landry, Josh Gordon. You draft Saquon Barkley. You make a couple signings on defense. Like, I'm just saying they got something.
Yeah,
they got a decent start on something.
Sure, they do.
Takes the next couple of moves to get them going,
and what's going to make them right? So first off, the 3rd round pick for Tyrod is an absolute steal. That is a steal, dude. That was so dumb on Buffalo. I don't get it. I don't know why they didn't like Tyrod. I'm not high on him, but I'm definitely not low on him. And I don't know why they thought they could. There was like scouts for it because I don't even remember what it was. One of the wideouts in fantasy, and they're like, oh, this is the week where it was a tight end for Buffalo. He's pretty good.
Charles Clay.
And they're like, this is the week you play him. They're going to put Peterman in, and he's a lot more accurate and everything, blah, blah, blah. And then they did it, and the guy shit the bed. 5 picks, just absolutely just trash. So then they go train for a 3rd round pick. Like, Tyrod is the only thing that's carrying you right now, and I don't even like Tyrod. But that's a steal. But what I was going to say about the Browns now, yes, they're getting playmakers and everything, but something that the Browns don't have going for them is they have like an aroma around that organization in that recent, that's like true. How many years they've been bad. So get this. They have all these playmakers. Say they lose. They have a losing culture there, and that means something. So, you lose the first 2 games, either you're a first-round draft pick or whatever. Sure, you're going to still go out and ball, but you're going to like slowly slide down into this mental aroma in what is like a losing culture. That's something that they have there, and obviously they're making the right moves to get playmakers in there and have a shot. But I'm just saying, like, they lose a couple of games.
I hear you.
It's not a good. I will believe the Browns when I see the Browns. I don't care who they have anymore because I've rode that train before.
No, I told you I told you guys last year is that I was high on what the Browns were doing, and then they fire their GM. They go 0-16. So, but I'll tell you, this is the start of at least trying. You get the the guys, you get the good locker room guys, you get a Jarvis Landry to be around a Josh Gordon who's had troubles. You know, this is like the starting point to try to turn around that culture. You get the high character guys. So, and then I'll just say the next sort of couple deals I liked is, the winner of the first day, I think, was the Bears. And I don't think it's really that close with signing Allen Robinson, Trey Burton, and then Taylor Gabriel. Just surrounding the guy you think is going to be the franchise quarterback with the right weapons. I think it's huge. And I think they had a really good day. I don't know if either of you guys can touch on that, or you can give your own deals that you liked.
I like Malcolm Butler going to the Titans. I think, he kind of was that guy. Like, obviously, he had his heroics in the past couple, or whatever Super Bowl it was against Seattle. But I think he kind of was the guy that kind of got swept by the wayside in that Belichick system. A guy that, didn't like that Belichick system, and obviously because he got benched during the Super Bowl. But, I mean, I think, him going to a team like Tennessee, a lot of young guys, I feel like they're kind of on the come up, good morale and everything. I feel like, having a guy that's, been to a Super Bowl, been to the playoffs a ton, has a ton of, experience with that. I mean, I think that's a good move by the Titans, and already have a young defense, and I feel like, are kind of on the come up. They made the playoffs last year. I feel like, that was a good move by the Titans.
Mike, you got anything, or move on to the next one?
I was going to be biased, but I'm going to hit it back on the Packers. Like, a huge winner. I think for the GM to go in there and just, kind of deal Jordy out, cut him out, bring in Jimmy Graham, and starting to solidify that defense a little bit. That's huge. And for him to just have the cojones to drop like a fan favorite like that, and it's like I said, we touched on it so much, like something that had to be done. We have to be more cutthroat, like an organization like the Pats, where it doesn't matter who you are. If you're a little bit older and not cutting it quite anymore, you're just overpaid. We're just going to cut ties with you and bring someone else in. And that alone, it is a big win. It's hard to see it, but that's the biggest win, in my opinion, of free agency. A little bias in there, but that's huge.
I hear you. All right, so that does it for our first day recap, I guess. We'll touch on some more deals, I'm sure, next week. But next to the big topic of the week is March Madness. Brackets came out on Sunday. We'll start we'll give our Final Four and our tournament winners later, but any thoughts on the field in general, or
Well, I really like the Badgers getting a 5 seed. Oh, wait.
They didn't even
make the tournament.
Not even the NIT.
Thanks, Greg Gard.
Rough year. Next year they could be in it next year.
But I think the committee got it wrong with a few teams. I don't think Syracuse deserved to be there. I think teams like, St. Mary's, I feel like they got robbed. They had a RPI of 40, which I think is pretty high. They only lost 5 games. I just am tired of this SEC. I know they have SEC guys on the tournament committee, but I'm just tired of, SEC is dominated with just, Alabama did not even have a winning conference record. They lost 15 games. They're 19-15. And why you put them in there? Like, yeah, their RPI is high. Yeah, they had one of the top recruiting classes last year. But at the same time, like, what are you doing putting them so high? As a 9 with that record, I found that unbelievable. But, they're, just like football, they're always going to ride the SEC's dick till their freaking grave. So, it's not – I can't say that I didn't expect it. I do think – as far as 1s and 2s, I do think they made a mistake putting UNC as a 2. I just think with the amount of losses they've had this year, compared to, Kentucky has the same amount of losses and they got a 5, and UNC got a 2. So it's one of those things. I don't know. I know the committee probably has some bias towards Tar Heels because they are, Tar Heels, but I just don't think they got it right with that. And then, Xavier is a 1 and Cincinnati is a 2. I just think you're setting yourself up for an early exit when especially with Cincinnati, just never can quite pull through, past the second round most of the time. So, it's a toss up. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I guess I didn't. The only really biggest thing I had was, Arizona State. They finished 9th in the conference, and they lost in the first round of the conference tournament, and they got in over. And then you got Oklahoma, who lost 11 of their last 15 games, and they finished with an 8-10 conference record, 18-13 overall, and they got in just because of Trae Young.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
I thought that was a joke.
Stealing everything I was going to say.
And then you got, I didn't really think about it, but then I listened to Dick Vitale. He went on a pretty good rant about Oklahoma State, about they're 8-10 in conference too. But you look at their wins, they beat Kansas twice. They won. They beat Oklahoma twice. They crushed Oklahoma in the conference tournament. They won at West Virginia. They beat Florida State out of conference, another tournament team. And I thought that, geez, they should have gotten in. And for Oklahoma to be safely in as a 10, to not have to play in, it's like that was a joke to me.
Yeah, but are you surprised, honestly,
no,
that the NCAA sold out for Trae Young?
No, because I think maybe they realized last year that they should have put LSU in with Ben Simmons, and they made a mistake, seeing how good he's doing in the NBA now. Maybe they had that in the back of their mind.
Yeah, see, that's how it is, and that's how, like, look at the NFL College Playoff Committee. You're always going to have big name teams. They're going to do everything they can do to get big name teams like Ohio State in there, Bama in there, Clemson in there, Oregon in there, because they're big names. That's why University of Central Florida doesn't even get looked at. They'll always be like, at the end they'll always be close, but they're not getting in. There's no money in that, and that's why they're not getting in. That's what sucks. That's what sucks about the NCAA.
And from like a betting standpoint, they know Vegas is going to lose their ass if a 15 seed shits on a 2 seed. So that's another reason why you can think like teams like St. Mary's or, some of those sleeper teams that you're like, well, I don't, it's the West Coast. I'm always in bed before they even play their games. So, you don't get to watch them, but that's what the NCAA wants. They don't want mid-majors. They focus more on the big schools.
Yeah, it's a television show, whatever, all that garbage. But when you take a look at moving on to the actual bracket now and into the meat of the games, is there any? We'll go one by one. Give a sleeper team that you're looking at that might go far.
I don't have many. Sleeper as far as a 5 seed, I got 2 5 seeds in my Elite 8, being Kentucky and Ohio State. Other than that, Sweet 16, I have New Mexico State in that, playing Kansas and losing. But that's the farthest I really have an upset going, would be the Sweet 16 and New Mexico State being that team.
All right, Nate, you got one?
I would say my sleeper is Murray State. I think they're going to do really well in the tournament. They're a big scoring team, so they put up a lot of points. You could say they play in the Ohio Valley, but I feel like they're kind of the littlest brother in as far as like when you think basketball in Kentucky. I think Murray State will make the Sweet 16. I think they're going to be very similar to like a Florida Gulf Coast, book it. But yeah, that's my sleeper.
For me, I guess I didn't pick them, but one I could see making a run is Bucknell. They were a team that some people thought might have been like that was underseeded as a 14, and I don't know much about them, but reading about them, they're high scoring, and then they defend the 3 well. 2 things that Michigan State does well. And Michigan State with the week off, you never know. But one team to watch, but one team I have going far, I guess, is, well, not far, but yeah, New Mexico State winning a game. You got South Dakota State over Ohio State. Loyola Chicago over Miami is what I could see. But yeah, like you said, Mike, I don't have any high seeds going really that far. But
that's the beauty of March Madness.
That's the beauty of March Madness. Anything can happen. So to finish off, well, if you've finished a bracket yet, give up your final four and who you think is going to win it all.
I'm going to give up my final four because it's essentially the same as Moody's, and I want to beat him to the punch.
You fucking asshole.
I got Kentucky and Michigan out of the South and West bracket. And then I got Villanova and Michigan State. And I got the winners of that being Kentucky and Michigan State. And for my champion, Michigan State.
Yep, I got Kentucky. I got Michigan. I got Michigan State. But instead of Villanova, I have Wichita State. And then I have Kentucky and Michigan State in the final, with Michigan State winning it all.
God, did you guys seriously do your brackets together?
Nope.
No, we didn't.
We just talked. I asked him about it a couple hours ago, and I was like, "Oh, who you got?" And then he just mentioned it. I'm like, "Damn it, dude! Both of the same bracket."
Hey, funny. You guys should go get a lottery ticket. I'm telling you.
Yeah, until they all lose in the first round, and then we're screwed.
Who you got, Nate?
This has been my latest year that I have not done a bracket yet. I'm going to do it right after I get off this podcast. But I think I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to take Duke. I guess
risk?
Duke fan.
I don't know, man. Grayson Allen, he's kind of choking.
How's that a risk? They're a 2 seed.
And it's Duke. They're a national power.
People sleep on Duke.
Nobody sleeps on Duke.
No. But here's the thing: Dude, everyone every year picks Duke to go really far, and then they choke. They lose. How many? And
you're picking him to go really far.
How many? I am picking them to go really far, but how many 2-15 games have they lost? They've lost like 2 or 3 that, from what I can remember. Where they just get knocked out, and you're like, what the hell?
All I'm hearing is that you're saying Duke and that they're going to go far, but then you're going to give reasons why they'll lose early.
No, I'm just saying they have lost early. That's why they're kind of a risk.
Okay. All right, so you got Duke winning it all.
Yep. And once I'll let you guys know, or you can tweet it out, my rest when I fill out my bracket.
Yeah, I'm thinking about putting it on the website. We'll see.
All right.
Check out the Twitter when I make it official. All right, there's our tournament coverage. Since it's been a month and a half, anything you guys have seen in the last month that you guys want to talk about before we end this thing?
Gosh, did we hit on the Olympics at all?
I mean, you could talk about that if you want. That happened.
I guess I'll just chat quickly about the Olympics in that the men's Olympic hockey is usually one of my favorite events to watch. I love, as much as I hate it, the USA and Canada and even Russia in their battle. It's so awesome. And you get so much talent in that when the NFL players, when the NFL players join, you get so much talent. The NHL players, but it's just so fun. And I can remember like where I was when the USA played for gold in 2010. Obviously they didn't win, but like, that's what it's all about. It was an amazing game, entertainment-wise. It was just awesome. And that's top-tier hockey. And we were totally robbed of that. The women's came and showed out, which was really cool. But, like, we were robbed of the top-tier men's hockey, and it was an absolute travesty when teams like, no offense, but Germany makes it to the gold medal game. And Russia's not a huge surprise because of the KHL being there and being prominent. Not as good as the NHL, obviously, but, it is a good level of hockey, probably second in the world. But it just sucks. It was a joke. Not even worth watching any of the teams.
Like, yeah, and you never really knew when the games were on anyway. And it's just like no NHL players just suck the life out of it. But
ruined the men's hockey Olympics. It was
but
terrible.
the women's hockey was great. I know, like you just said with the men's, the women's final didn't go the way I like, but that was such a great game. Nate, I'll go with you next. What you got?
I mean, I was kind of gonna piggyback off Mike, but not talk hockey. I think it's great to see Sean White actually, come back and actually, win his, his goal like we always know he does. It's been kind of cool, see him blossom, as this young carrot top to like a more mature, young person. Just to see what he does, to even just beat that, I think it was a Chinese kid, just kind of show him who's boss. Kid was 15 years old.
I think it was Japanese.
Japanese, Chinese, whatever. But it's just one of those things. I mean, he's just fun to watch. I mean, he makes the Olympics worth, watching in full, and like you want to watch that event, for as long as you can. I feel like it's the most eye appealing besides hockey. Just watching, see what he can do with those 720s or whatever the hell he's doing. I thought, watching, he makes snowboarding fun to watch, and I think that's just kind of, I hope he comes back for the next Winter Olympics, but we'll kind of see.
Yeah, he balled out. That was a comeback. That was awesome.
Speaking of comeback stories, mine will be on the Bucks. Brandon Jennings is back. Came back last night. Almost had a triple-double in the first half. Led the Bucks to victory. Sometimes when you see NBA players, you leave the NBA, go overseas, you come back, you get a little more appreciation for the game, your spot, and then you play better. You just something mentally clicks, and you end up sticking around, and you making yourself the rest of your career. And I don't know. I hope that happens with Brandon Jennings. It'd be awesome. The Bucks could use this offense.
Similar to I think another thing that helps is familiarity and comfortableness in that he was a boss with the Bucks.
Yep.
Yeah, guy was a boss. Like when Greg Jennings left, he was with somewhere else, and I think that doesn't help you. Like Matt Flynn, perfect example. Went other places, but when he played for the Packers as a backup, he killed it.
Yeah. So
I think that familiarity helps, but definitely awesome that he's back.
I also think it's great that they started him on the herd just to increase ticket sales in Oshkosh.
They got to put do something to put butts in the seats, right?
Yep.
Or seats in the butts.
Or that. Can't forget about seats in the butts. All right. Anything else, you guys? We kind it off. All right, there you go. That's it for episode 32. Maybe next time we'll get Garb in here, but you never know how schedules work out. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to everything, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Twitter, shit like that. See you next time.